Welcome back to PR and Test Drive. I'm James, and this week I've been driving the 2025 Acura Integra Type S. I was able to show you this vehicle in 2024, and since then, absolutely nothing has changed. But in the case of the Integra Type S, that is absolutely no problem. This vehicle left such an impression on me in 2024 that I have been itching to drive it again and just simply hoping that it would come up here on the press fleet. Lo and behold, it has, and now I've gotten to spend a week with it, and I'll tell you, my opinion hasn't changed. I loved it in 2024, and since nothing has changed for 2025, I absolutely love it here in 2025. Now, the Integra Type S often gets compared to the Honda Civic Type R. I think they use a lot of the same parts. They are sort of similar in a few different areas, but if you're sitting there confused at which one you should actually buy, I'll say this. The Integra Type S is more oriented towards street driving, but street driving very quickly, and the Type R is more oriented towards the track. That's not to say that the Type R can't go on the street and be fun, and it's also not to say that the Integra Type S can't be on the track and be fun. They both can do those things exceptionally well, but I feel like the Integra Type S is the more mature version of the two, while the Type R is maybe a little bit more boy racer. If I had to choose though, I think I'd still choose the Integra Type S. It's more refined, it's got a little bit more of a luxurious vibe to it, and honestly, I never take vehicles on the track. I don't even have one that close to me to do that with, so it would be a very, very rare occasion. So I would go Type S all the way. This thing just looks really, really cool, but it kind of still has that mature vibe to it. And when it comes to the exhaust sound, the Integra Type S in its stock form sounds 100 times better than the Type R. Now, of course, nothing has changed for the 2025 version of the Integra, but I have changed since 2024. I have a lot more experience behind the wheel of manual transmissions. I have a lot more experience in vehicles in general since then. I think the 2024 Acura Integra Type S was probably my fourth ever manual transmission vehicle that I had ever driven. So I was very new to it, which allowed me to offer a different perspective. But now I'm a little bit more seasoned and I can now offer that perspective as well. So let's take it on the road, but first, let me tell you a bit about it. All right, so on the road now, 2025 Acura Integra Type S. And like I said, like I've been saying all video, nothing has changed. So that means the driving is relatively the same. Again, the only thing that has changed is me. I was very much a beginner manual. It was the third manual I've ever driven when I first stepped into the Integra Type S. Now I've had quite a bit of experience with different manual transmissions, and now I can confidently say that this is one of the best transmissions around still today. And that's saying something because there isn't actually that many transmissions around, but like you pair it with like a really good vehicle like this is, and you really, really have something special in the Integra Type S. I'm so glad it's here again for 2025. Honestly, if they change nothing for 2026, hopefully it's still around in 2026, I would not mind at all. This transmission is so easy to use. It has rev match downshifting, so basically it blips the throttle every time you want to downshift, and it absolutely makes you feel like a race car driver when you're like taking tight corners or whatever. You downshift in there, it does the throttle blips. Sometimes it'll do a pop and bang, especially if you downshift early enough. It'll go really high in the rev range and it will give you a nice pop and crackle while you're doing that. It just makes you look cool, makes you feel cool. I love driving with the windows down. I won't do that for this video, but I love the exhaust noise of this vehicle. But like the transmission moves so well. It's just butter. You can see just like that. It downshifts absolutely no problem. I do find it easier to downshift into first this year, and I'm not sure if that is a change. They really haven't found any actual changes, but it's either me that's changed and I'm just better at doing it, or it's actually sort of rev matching down into first now, which is actually a huge plus. Now the clutch pedal, you don't get a lot of feeling out of it. You don't really know when it's engaged. It's one of those things where you just kind of have to listen to the engine almost, and you can also feel it through the seat a little bit. You can feel the push or the pull. That's kind of how I've been able to gauge, especially early on, because I haven't driven manual in a pretty long time. But now we're at the end of the week here, and I am right back where I left off and just enjoying it. So the Integra Type S also has a bunch of drive modes. It's got Sport Plus, Sport, and Comfort. No Eco mode, because honestly, who the heck is driving this thing in Eco mode? Not me, I can tell you that much. But I put it in my individual mode, where basically I have everything in Sport Plus mode other than the adaptive dampers, which those are in Comfort mode. So basically everything's on 10 except for my suspension, because I don't want to get beat up. My spine already looks like a racetrack. I'm trying to preserve it so I'm not looking at the ground when I am 90 years old. I got some traffic here on my left, but I'm going to keep it slow here, and then we'll give it some beams from about second gear once I pass everybody here. So here we go. Let's give this Integra Type S some beams. Here we go. Oh my God, it just flies. 320 horsepower. It feels like a whole lot more. Probably because I have a manual transmission, and so I'm actually controlling it. It'll let me go all the way to that 7,000 redline RPM. There's no shift lights or anything like super sporty like in the Type R or anything, but oh my goodness, that exhaust sounds so much better. It is so much louder. It's so much more fun to hear this thing roar up to speed. And like, look, I can just go back to being comfortable right after that. So like, I just ripped and boom. There is sometimes that this thing has so much horsepower and torque available that when I mash the throttle in second gear, I am moving all over the place. And it's such a fun experience because it can be controlled and dialed in, but it can also kind of unleash like a wild side. It will kind of let you slide a little bit. You could absolutely still have so much fun with this thing on the track. It is just unbelievable. Like, but I do still feel like it's an absolute street weapon. And you know, at first when I drove it, I had to answer one question, was how good was it to be a beginner? And now I have to answer the other question, is, has the novelty gone? Like, you know, at first it was new to me. Manual driving wasn't something I was good at, so every manual car kind of left an impression. But I can tell you, after spending a week with this thing, it is seriously a great vehicle to drive around. I have very, very little to complain about it. It handles so well. It doesn't have all-wheel drive, which I think would have been a cool option to maybe add on. Maybe they'll do it in 2026, I don't know, but it would have been something cool to have as the SH all-wheel drive. But still, this thing handles like an absolute little demon. The limited slip differential is absolutely helping you here. It's absolutely helping you wrangle the corners in third gear. Like, there's some corners where like I can just take it in third gear and it just is pulling me through. I still have so much torque available even in third gear. It's just so much fun to rip this thing around town. Oh, that exhaust, it just never gets old. Driving this vehicle, I'll tell you, in general, has never gotten old. And honestly, like, I'm so glad I've done it again, even knowing nothing's changed. I am somebody who really enjoys driving manual, but the vehicle also has to be right. And the Integra Type S is a manual transmission paired with something that is just so much fun to drive all the time, no matter what. Like, I just love ripping this thing around town. I love ripping it on the highway. No matter where I am, I just love driving it. And it's pretty comfortable as well. And it's pretty usable in terms of like the family setting. Like, because it is comfortable. Even in comfort mode, there are times where I'll hit a pretty big Quebec-sized crater pothole and I'll feel my body kind of like do this a bit. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt that one. And my daughter probably feels it too in the back seat. But look, this is a ton of power and a ton of fun for something that I can still use with my daughter in the car. All right, so final thoughts for the Integra Type S. Basically, if you want a vehicle that is fast, engaging to drive, it's got like, you know, the enthusiast manual transmission built right into it, and it's easy to hop into it and immediately drive it fast, then the Integra Type S is the absolute vehicle for you. It handles very, very well. The transmission is easy to learn, use, and understand quite quickly, even for beginners, and it's still fun once you get used to it. It's still really, really engaging once you kind of know what you're doing with a manual transmission. Even after the novelty of driving a manual transmission for the first time wears off, you are still going to really, really enjoy this product. I guarantee that. The interior is functional. It feels pretty premium as well, but honestly, if you're buying an Integra Type S, I don't know if you're buying it for, you know, the interior luxuries, although there is a bit more of those things in the Integra versus something like the Type R. The Type R is very much the boy racer that can still be fun on the street. This one is very much a street weapon that can still be very much fun on the track. But honestly, if I were to own either one, probably wouldn't take either one on the track. So I think I'm gonna go Integra just because it has, you know, the dampers and a little bit more like the luxurious look and a little bit more of a muted look, but still kind of aggressive at the same time. I like the whole package here. I've enjoyed my week. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you want to leave a like, we would very much appreciate that. If you want to let me know what you think of this vehicle in the comments, I really want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the manual transmissions will stay around? I think probably not. I think we're probably seeing the last ones, you know, in the next few years. I think they're going to start to get phased out, which is very unfortunate. So if you have the budget, which I know a lot of people don't, it's kind of an expensive product, this Acura right here, go out and buy this thing. Go out and show Acura that yes, we still want manuals, yes, we can still drive 3 pedals, and hopefully they keep it around for a couple more years to come and they just keep improving it. If you see that hype button on YouTube, I noticed there's like this new feature on YouTube where you can kind of hype videos. If you see that pop up for you, go ahead and click that. I don't want your money. I don't want anything like that. You liking, commenting, and subscribing does way more for us than I could ever tell you. It really, really helps in the algorithm. So go ahead and do that for me if you've made it this far in the video. With that being said, I'll see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.